Leaders who died in the dumbest ways possible. History has no shortage of leaders who died gloriously. On battlefields, in palace coups, surrounded by weeping heirs. These five are not those leaders. These five are the men who commanded empires, fought wars, and shaped continents, and then died in ways that would embarrass a toddler. 1. Qin Shi Huang. It's 210 BCE, and the most powerful man on earth is drinking poison on purpose. His name is Ying Zeng, though he calls himself Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. He has unified 7 warring states into a single empire. He has standardized the currency, the written language, and the axle widths of carts, because chariots kept breaking wheels on roads built for different wagons. He has built a wall across the entire north of the country to keep out horseback raiders. He has commissioned a silent army of 8,000 clay soldiers to guard his tomb. He is, by any reasonable measure, the most accomplished ruler in Chinese history. And he is slowly killing himself with mercury. The problem is simple. He does not want to die. Ever. He has ordered his court alchemists to find him the elixir of life. And those alchemists have been working on the problem with the focused enthusiasm of men who understand that failure means execution. What they eventually deliver is a formula of mercury, jade powder, and cinnabar. They tell him it is the drink of the gods. It is, in fact, liquid metal. Mercury poisoning does not kill quickly. It eats the nervous system, it scrambles the brain. By his late 40s, Qin Shi Huang is paranoid, rage-prone, and shaking. He sleeps in a different palace every night because he is convinced someone is trying to assassinate him. He orders 460 scholars buried alive for speaking against him. He refuses to name a successor, because naming one would mean admitting he is going to die, which is not the plan. In the summer of 210 BCE, he is touring the eastern provinces when he collapses in his carriage. He is 49 years old. The mercury has won, and here is where it gets worse. His chief eunuch Zhao Gao and his prime minister Li Si realize they are traveling weeks away from the capital with a dead emperor, no named heir, and a political situation that will explode the moment the news gets out, so they do not tell anyone. They keep bringing meals to the carriage, they keep delivering reports to the curtain, and because it is late summer in northern China and the body is rotting fast, they order wagons full of salted fish to travel alongside the imperial procession, so that no one notices the smell of the decomposing emperor over the stench of rotting fish. They forge a letter in his name, ordering his firstborn son, Fusu, to commit suicide. Fusu obeys. They install his younger, easier-to-manipulate son, Huhai, on the throne. Within 3 years, the dynasty collapses into open rebellion. The empire Qin Shi Huang spent his entire life building lasts 15 years from start to finish. The man who wanted to live forever is remembered mostly for the way he went, buried under a hill of packed earth, guarded by clay soldiers. In a tomb whose central chamber is rumored to contain rivers of flowing mercury, the same poison that killed him, still pooled there 2,000 years later. 2. Valentinian I. It's November 17, 375 CE, and the emperor of the Western Roman Empire is about to yell himself to death. Valentinian I is 54 years old. He is a competent soldier, a decent administrator, and a man with a temper so extreme that his own court historians write about it like it is a weather event. He keeps 2 bears near his bedroom named Goldflake and Innocence, and he feeds prisoners to them for fun. He once beat a servant to death for handing him the wrong hunting dog. People who work for him describe him as a good emperor who loses his mind when contradicted. On this particular morning, in the Roman border fort of Brigetio on the Danube, he loses his mind one last time. The Quadi are a Germanic tribe living on the other side of the river. They have sent a delegation of envoys to apologize. The Romans have been building forts on their land. The Quadi have been raiding in response. People on both sides are dead. The envoys arrive hoping to negotiate a peace. Valentinian receives them in his audience chamber. They speak respectfully. They offer apologies for the raids. They suggest, very carefully, that perhaps the Roman forts inside their ancestral territory had something to do with the trouble. This is the wrong thing to say to Valentinian. He starts screaming. His face goes red. Spit flies. He is shrieking about their insolence, their ingratitude, The sheer unbelievable nerve of barbarians suggesting that Rome is ever at fault for anything. The envoys stand there in frozen silence while the emperor of half the known world has a full public meltdown at them. And then something pops in his head. Witnesses describe him breaking off mid-sentence. His mouth keeps moving. No sound comes out. He collapses back into his throne and starts choking on his own tongue. Physicians rush in. They try to bleed him, which was the Roman medical answer to absolutely every problem. Nothing works. Within minutes, he is dead. A cerebral hemorrhage, almost certainly. A blood vessel in his brain, torn open by the strain of screaming at men who had come to say sorry. The envoys, presumably, do not know what to do. They are standing in a room where the ruler of the Western Roman Empire has just killed himself in front of them, with pure rage. History does not record whether they were allowed to leave the building. Valentinian's death leaves the empire to his 16-year-old son Gratian and his 4-year-old son Valentinian II. 3 years later, Rome loses the Battle of Adrianople to the Goths, a disaster that historians later point to as the beginning of the Western Empire's long collapse. The emperor, who could have steered Rome through any of it, chose instead to yell until his brain broke. 3. Charles VIII. It's April 7, 1498, and the King of France is in a hurry to watch some men play tennis. Charles VIII is 27 years old. He is not a physically impressive king. He is short. He has 6 toes on 1 foot. His head is described by contemporaries as disproportionately large for his body, which is not the kind of description you want from your own court. But he is king of the most powerful country in Europe. He has just invaded Italy and briefly taken Naples. He is married to Anne of Brittany, which is the diplomatic maneuver that puts Brittany inside France for the first time in history. And on this afternoon, at the Château d'Amboise in the Loire Valley, he wants to watch a game of jeu de paume. It is the ancestor of tennis, played in the castle's dry moat. He takes Anne by the hand. He leads her through a gallery toward the viewing balcony. The gallery has a low stone doorway. Charles, in his hurry, does not duck. He slams his forehead directly into the lintel. He laughs it off. Medieval kings bump their heads. He keeps walking. He watches the tennis match. He chats with his courtiers. He walks back through the same doorway, presumably more careful this time. And then, sometime that evening in that same gallery, he collapses. He cannot speak. He cannot move the right side of his body. The courtiers do not want to move him, so they lay him down on a straw mattress right there on the stone floor of the passageway. He lies there for 9 hours, conscious but silent, while his doctors try to figure out what is happening inside his head. He dies a little before midnight. The likely cause is a subdural hematoma, a slow bleed on the brain that started when he hit the lintel and took the rest of the afternoon to kill him. Modern doctors reading the accounts believe he would have survived with basic neurosurgery. In 1498, the best France can do is pray. He has no surviving sons. His oldest, also named Charles, died at age 3. His second son died at 25 days. His third died at 1 month. His daughter died at 1 month. The entire direct royal line of Charles VIII runs out because a man in a hurry to watch a tennis match does not duck under a doorway. The crown passes to his cousin Louis XII, who immediately annuls his own marriage so he can marry Charles's widow Anne, purely to keep Brittany inside France. The family drama alone is worth its own script. 4. Pyrrhus of Epirus. It's 272 BCE, and one of the greatest generals of the ancient world is being killed by an old woman's roof. Pyrrhus of Epirus is a cousin of Alexander the Great. He has fought Romans, Macedonians, Carthaginians, and Spartans. His name is the origin of the phrase Pyrrhic victory, because after defeating the Romans at the Battle of Asculum in 279 BCE and losing most of his own army in the process, he reportedly turns to an officer and says, "One more victory like this, and we are finished." He is the kind of man who is always finishing. He cannot sit still. The moment one war ends, he finds another. In 272 BCE, he is in the Peloponnese, fighting inside the streets of the city of Argos, because an internal Argive faction has invited him to take the city from a rival. It is going badly. The streets of Argos are narrow. His war elephants, his signature weapon, are useless in tight alleys, and right now they are panicking and trampling his own men. His army is fragmented. The Argives are picking off his soldiers from rooftops with rocks, tiles, and anything heavy enough to fall. Pyrrhus is mounted, fighting his way down one of these alleys, when a young Argive soldier charges at him. Pyrrhus drives a spear through the boy's chest. The boy drops. The boy's mother is on the roof of a house just above, and she has been hurling tiles at invaders all morning. She sees her son die. She lifts the heaviest roof tile she can carry. She aims at the man on the horse. She throws. The tile catches Pyrrhus at the base of the neck, in the gap between his helmet and his shoulder armor. It stuns him. He slumps forward. His horse carries him a few more steps, and he slides off into the dirt of the street, paralyzed or unconscious. Sources disagree. A Macedonian soldier named Zopyrus finds him lying there. He does not recognize who it is at first. When he realizes he is standing over Pyrrhus of Epirus, cousin to Alexander, scourge of Rome, conqueror of kings, he hesitates. Then he draws his sword and starts sawing through the neck. He does it badly. The head is eventually brought to King Antigonus II of Macedon. Antigonus is reportedly disgusted, throws his own cloak over it, and orders it buried with honor. A man who survived charging elephants and Roman legions and Spartan phalanxes. Killed because a grieving mother on a roof picked up a rock. His body is burned, his army scatters. The kingdom of Epirus never recovers, and within a generation it is swallowed whole by Rome, the same Rome that Pyrrhus once nearly broke. 5. Adolf Fredrik. It's February 12th, 1771, and the King of Sweden is about to eat himself into a coffin. Adolf Fredrik is 60 years old. He has been King of Sweden for 20 years. He is not a strong king. The Swedish parliament has stripped most of his real power during what Swedes call the Age of Liberty, and Adolf Fredrik spends his days doing what disempowered monarchs tend to do. He eats. He hunts. He handcrafts snuff boxes. He reportedly makes hundreds of snuff boxes over his reign. They are, by all accounts, pretty good snuff boxes. On this evening, Shrove Tuesday, he sits down to dinner at the Royal Palace in Stockholm. The menu is actually recorded. It goes like this: lobster, caviar, smoked herring, sauerkraut, champagne, and then, for dessert, a traditional Swedish dish called hetväg. It is a sweet almond paste-filled bun called a semla served in a deep bowl of warm milk. A delicacy. Rich. Filling. Normally eaten one at a time. Adolf Fredrik eats 14 of them. 14 servings of sweet buns and hot milk, on top of a meal that was already lobster, caviar, smoked herring, pickled cabbage, and champagne. He finishes the last bun. He stands up. He collapses. The official cause of death is listed as digestive issues. Modern historians suspect a combination of stroke and catastrophic gastrointestinal failure in a 60-year-old body that simply could not process the volume and richness of what had just been shoveled into it. He goes down in Swedish textbooks, without irony, as the king who ate himself to death. His son, Gustav III, who is out of the country at the time, races home and takes the throne. Gustav is a very different kind of king. Ambitious, theatrical, a patron of the arts. Within a year, he stages a bloodless coup and takes back most of the power that Parliament had stripped from his father. Adolf Fredrik dies a soft king whose death accidentally hands his son the keys to an absolute monarchy. He is buried with full honors. Somewhere in the royal palace, his collection of hand-carved snuff boxes still exists. They outlasted the man who made them by about 250 years. The buns did not. 5 men, 5 empires, 1 drinks metal. 1 screams until he bursts. 1 gets to duck. 1 gets beamed by a grandmother. 1 orders a 14th dessert. Power, it turns out, does not protect anyone from the oldest joke in history, which is that bodies are fragile and pride is heavier than a roof tile.